Here we are, another Friday Night Live Zoom, March 19th, 2021. Let's see if we're live on Facebook. I think we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's working. Very good. Awesome. Away we go. So another week's gone by. We're almost in the beginning of spring, which is a great sign. And we can embrace that change as we always do with each season change. Getting into our dry fast is very great, beautiful time to do that, as we've been practicing for many years. So this thing going here? Yeah, I think it is. Okay. So what's happening in everybody's life?
It's interesting this week. I was dry Tuesday, Wednesday, was it?
Awesome.
Yeah. But I had to break it. And
Too
something
intense?
just told me I was not sleeping at night because of the stupid arm. Yeah, bone.
Pain?
Yeah, mostly at night. It would just shoot up. But what was really telling is I joined the gym that I got a gym right down the road from me, just so I could go sit on a bike and pedal so I can just move the body because I'm not doing shit here. And I started on the bike and my feet started cramping up. I'm like, huh, interesting.
Uh-huh.
When I got home, my legs started cramping up. I said, freaking dehydrated. Hmm. I don't usually
Why?
dehydrate and dry.
Yeah.
So I broke it. I broke with, I just got really juicy. I got watermelon, really juicy fruits. And just broke both, the fast and the other, the dry and the fast. And then last night I slept right through. Never woke up once. Nope.
You know what the
Don't know if it
cramping
hurt
is?
or not. I slept right through.
We know what the cramping is, right?
Dehydration.
It's no body's purging.
Yeah, exactly. Obstruction. Yeah, the body is
The
the body is
drugs,
releasing.
the drugs, Steve,
Yep.
putting you under and stuff.
That's exactly what I equated. I said, I'm still getting rid of these freaking pharmaceuticals.
Oh yeah,
So obstructions make you dehydrated.
yeah, of course. But this is when we pay attention to what's happening,
Oh,
like
I know exactly what I know it. Yeah. It says freaking
it's
drugs.
very
That's
interesting.
pharmaceuticals.
The pharmaceuticals are the body doesn't want this stuff, and the only time I've seen people being able to purge is in a fasting state. And what would most people equate as cramping and all stuff? Oh, you're deficient in potassium and this and that and the other thing. No, because we keep going, and what eventually happens, the cramps go away
So anyway.
on the same system, just purging and purging and purging, and the cramps go away. So how can it be a deficiency if they go away? That would, if it was deficiency, that means it should get worse as we become more deficient from not eating, right? But people, it's common sense is not common anymore. So
It
we
takes a lot. I mean, it's impossible for the average person to know this stuff, because it's completely against what we have learned, all our lives until we have experienced it. For example, on the master fast with long fasting and dry fasting.
oh yeah, people debated me for decades about this stuff, and I just did my thing and they did their things. And what I was doing was working, and until I fell off the road and started listening to them. So just was reinforced everything I was doing. I was on track because thousands of people who've master fasted have experienced very similar things happening. So it just shows that if we pay attention, and we listen and we trust, we can find out, how the body functions and what its needs truly are. Um, there's nothing in matter the body needs. Even though we don't have 100% faith in that yet, it's there. The information is there. The more we live it, the more the faith starts to build. And that's the way it is. The more we go through the experiences, the faith gets built up. So it's awesome. Awesome, Steve. You've had a shift now. Once that stuff purges, the healing goes quicker, progresses.
Well, that would be nice. This is a pain in the ass, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
God.
Is the pain still a lot, or after that night's sleep, is it changed?
Well, we'll see tonight. Usually ramps up at night. It's not too bad right now. I don't know what the nighttime, but why the nighttime brings it on.
Yeah, the nights of the pains, they increase.
I don't know if it's because the body's in the prone position and the blood flow is different, maybe. I don't know what it
Well,
is.
what do we have? We have a basic understanding that through pain comes healing, right?
Yeah.
So if we interpret it as that, then we say it's a good thing, because when you're sleeping.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just don't know
Yeah, no.
why it amplifies at night.
Well, in night, what are we in? We're in that dry fasting state for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the healing mostly happens. If you pay attention, when you're in a fasting state, especially, whether it's master fasting full on or just the dry fasting state, which happens exponentially quicker, you look at your face before you go to bed very carefully. And then in the morning, when you get up, you look at your face again, you will see rejuvenation happening in a short period of time. Like, I did this over the years, and it's pretty amazing to see what happens just in that few hour sleeps, whatever it is, 6, 8 to 10 hours, whatever you're sleeping, and the magic that happens during the sleep period is just amazing, because I believe that the ego leaves us when we're sleeping. It's out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's one of the obstructions that holds us back big time, right? It's that freaking ego. It's when we're in a wake state that's always there, if we have not been able to master that, and that's probably many lifetimes of work for us to go down those paths. But it's interesting when we start looking at things in a different eye of what we've been taught and what we've been told, and what everybody else's believes to be as fact. It's very interesting. But
it's very real interesting, especially I can step outside and just observe this. It's really, really neat.
Yeah, that's the beauty part, when you step outside and observe what's happening.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, before you go to bed, take a picture of yourself in your mind's eye. Just look at it, and you know what you look like. And in the morning, you don't even, you can actually take photographs. Hello, Barbara. And do it that way as well, and you'll see a difference. You'll definitely see a difference. Use the same lighting, same camera, same place would be the ideal. And watch the progression of how the soul's doing its work. Because we were just talking about Barbara, about how the body miraculously heals in those hours of sleep. And the main reason we have an understanding is because in our sleep state, there's no ego. We remove that big obstruction that we all have lagging around when we're in our awake state. So yeah, and we're dry fasting, right? We're dry fasting. For the most part, most people are dry fasting when they're sleeping. I have come across a few people over the years that had to wake up in the middle of the night, either once or a few times to either drink or eat something because they couldn't sleep through the night without doing that. That's an extreme state of imbalance.
Yeah.
Because it's the body's trying to what? In that fasting state, it's trying to purge, and they cannot handle it even in their sleep. So, eventually what will happen, if you live this lifestyle, you'll be able to sleep through the night and once you start purging. But it's a beautiful thing to bear witness and see this happening. A good friend of mine who's also a colon hydrotherapist, um, every time we used to see each other pretty regularly, at least once every week or a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. And um, and he'd say, "You're in a fasting state, right?" because you're glowing, man. Statements like that, whatever. But yeah, you can see the changes happen very quickly and very beautifully. So we embrace that. Some of us are going to be going through more challenges than others, and we feel for you because a lot of us have been there. A lot of us have been there, and it's not fun. But you know, through my experiences and many other thousands of experiences, we know that we're going to come out stronger on the other end. And how long is it going to be? We can't answer that. We just don't have the answer. For some people, it happens a lot quicker than others, and some people, it's going to be a big challenge to move on to the other side, especially when we're dealing with big emotional challenges, which we all have, but some of us endure more than others. And when we have a support system, that's going to be all the help. Um, all the help is going to be a tremendous benefit, so people can support each other, inspire each other. So how you doing, Barbara? Everything okay? You you have to unmute. Unmute.
Okay, now you can
There
hear
you
me?
go. Yeah,
Oh,
you
good.
found us.
Okay. Yay, I did. I found you. Wonderful. I'm unmuted. I got internet here. So yeah, and I want to tell you that that in Toastmaster Club, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's an international organization. They say where leaders are made to help
Speakers,
people. Speakers,
public
yeah.
speaking. Yeah.
Obama actually got help from Toastmasters when he used a lot of crutch words when he first became president. They were working with him, and when there was a big Toastmaster convention, he sent everybody gifts, saying how wonderful it is when people get together to make the world a better place. So I won the contest in my club for the best speaker.
Awesome.
Then I had to go and compete with all the people who won in their clubs. And I won that one. And tomorrow I'm going to be competing with the people that now are the winners in their regions. And I think that actually includes the Bahamas. So when I told my friend Shelly, she's from India, that, I was fasting, yes, she was happy because she said, oh, that helps clear your mind. That helps make you a better speaker. And I think also helps clear me emotionally. And I think that's part of why I've been winning. And, you said, I want to know what level you're on, but it's like, I do too, because I have trouble with memory, and I have trouble with consistency. It's like, I'll forget, I'll start off and I'm juicing and somebody offers me something. And then the next thing, I could have said no. Yeah, so, but I'm getting stronger, I'm getting better because I really, I feel like in my 70s, I've finally almost a grown up, where I should be able to use my education and use my life experiences, to help people, to develop community, to make a documentary, to go on with my education. I'm excited about who I become, what I know, and what I might be able to do from here, but I have to get my health together. And Yeah, I have so many diagnoses, so many terrible diagnoses, and I've had so much injury to my head, my neck, my spinal cord, my back, and I just have to be able to walk past all that because I feel like I have a lot that I want to give in this life.
But
And I need
you did walk
another,
past it. You're here. You're still here.
yeah. And I not need another 40 years. But I mean, I walked past so many, all these challenges so far. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned, was it last week on Facebook? I think it was, that you're on some kind of meds or something.
Yeah. I was in crazy pain, and there were a couple of times when I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand. I wasn't in control of of my urine and stuff. It was like, yeah. So I was given tramadol. I was given gabapentin. I was given duloxetine. So and I realized
I don't know what they
sometimes
are. Are they for pain?
for pain, and well, a lot of the pain is because I had serious injury to my neck is possibly the reason why. My hand is very crippled up. It's hard for me to use it all the time. Kind of comes and goes, but it kind of gets like in a claw state, and I'd be walking with a really bad limp. And there were, yeah. So I mean, God, I was just thinking about like 4 or 5 years ago, I was at this New Year's celebration at the Buddhist 125-acre Florida Nature and Culture Center. And on the way back to my car, I couldn't walk, and I had to like crawl back to my car. And I was so glad that nobody saw me, because I didn't want to try to explain that, my desire.
How long has this been going on, this challenge you have now?
This well, it's serious for about 12 years, but I realized that that and I mean, I'm smiling not because I'm totally crazy, but because it was a little funny that somebody was courting me, and he was talking to my dad on the porch, and came back from the porch and started treating me differently. And I'm like, what did my dad say to you? He said, oh, he told me how you fell on your head when you were a baby. I was like, that explains a lot of things. Like when I was learning to write, I'd have to use both my hands, to write letters A. And when I was trying to learn to play the piano, it would hurt me to try to keep my fingers in that position. So I'm like, oh yeah. And I've had many injuries to my head and my neck, and yeah, and they have, all kinds of diagnoses for me: rheumatoid arthritis and degenerative bone disease. And so I have to I have to say, my big prayer has been, I want to inspire people. Like in my 80s, my 90s, I want to inspire people with how healthy and how happy you can be in your older age, that everyone doesn't need to be all suffering and, and handicapped and miserable. And yeah, so I have, like right now, I've got this sore on my lip. What? That sometimes that comes when I'm drinking a lot of the grape juice with the lemon in it. I don't know. All I know is herpes simplex 2, something like that. But yeah, I've had wonderful experiences with fasting, from when I was a teenager, where I've seen great things. I know the potential, I know the possibilities. And then it's funny how soon we can forget, right? Like
Yeah.
I was, yeah. And I also know that, like, I had one dentist friend who said, oh no, if you're a fruitarian, you have trouble with your teeth. But I also know my first degree's in psychology. And when people start becoming afraid that they're never going to be able to communicate their truths to other people, we manifest that by having teeth problems. Because as a baby, we're seeing as our teeth are coming in, so is our ability to communicate with other people. So people would do psychedelic drugs, or they would, have problems with schizophrenia, and that would come up for them. Oh my God, I'm losing my teeth. My teeth are wiggling. It comes with that sense of, how am I ever going to be able to communicate like who I am, what I know, what I believe into other people, So to me, makes sense. And I'm watching 2 of my friends right now are fruitarians. And yeah, and so far it seems like jumping in the ocean before the sun comes up. And then we do laughter yoga. We're laughing and we're hugging. And the combination of the friendship of the hugging and the sun coming up and the laughing, the grounding, the solar healing is just such powerful medicine. That's the best medicine that I have. And now I talk to these doctors, this other doctor about pain. Oh, you should be in a lot of pain. So she sent me to a doctor who sent me to get medical marijuana. He said, oh, this is going to get you off the meds and make everything all right. But I know this really smart man I met on the beach the other day who said he crashed his helicopter. I mean, how many people crash their helicopters, right? And he said, you're already there. You don't need anything, you already have it. You're already there, right? They'll just take more of your money.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but whatever it's going to take for me to grow as someone who can become a truly loving human being. I promised your wife, I said, sometime we're going to create a community, in the Palestine area that can be, Arab, Israeli, Black, white, we're going to people power, we're going to make, beautiful areas there. And I want to be able to do that, and I have amazing connections. Alawi Absood, King Faisal's nephew, the one who tried to give the $10 million to New York when 9/11 happened. And they wouldn't take his money because he was Arab. What? And he came to my family's Passover. He came to our Seder. He and I shared an apartment and loved each other a lot when we were in college. So, it's just about, I think, communicating and, reaching out and, having concrete ideas, what we want to make happen. And that's what I was going to say tonight. I said, I'm going to be really bold and I'm going to say, to me, anything, if we're talking about a they, they who's trying to take us down, or they, because I grew up hearing, yeah, it's the Jews, it's the government. And my dad was both the Jew and the government, and one of the nicest people, I've known in my life, right? So it's like, let's not talk about, this terrible they out there. Let's talk about who we are, and what we're creating and what we're doing to keep us all really proud of who we are and our connections with each other, that, yeah.
Yeah, keep the energy flowing.
Yes.
So yeah, you've been quite a bit. When did you start cleaning up your diet?
I was in high school and I started realizing that all the guys that I was really attracted to, that I was meeting, they were all vegetarian for some interesting reason. And my dad was going to the hospital about having an ulcer, and they were telling me he should drink cream to coat his intestine. That's what the doctors were telling him. And I had a very smart fake cousin. And I got fake cousins because how do we explain the love between us in this relationship? And this guy was 8 years. No, he was just 4 years younger than me, And it's like, so just going, this is my cousin, just kind of could explain the love away, right? But he told me, he said, okay, for the next 3 days, you're going to eat nothing but cabbage. And he said, okay, you can have some red peppers and some carrots with it. Keep it interesting. And in those 3 days, I saw such miracles because I was studying dance and I had all this greater flexibility. I could like lift my leg so much higher, and it was really exciting to see that. I would run every morning. I would run to chant with a friend, and the place where I usually would get tired, I did not get tired. And then I was doing Kundalini yoga, and I was like the only female in the class for a while because it was a rough, it was a very strenuous class. And I found I had, in 3 days, I had all this greater lung capacity. I could like keep up. So I was so impressed, and the ulcer problem went away. And that's because the Helicobacter pylori virus that they found is associating with ulcers, something that can be eliminated with raw cabbage, that, right? So I saw that, and then I went on a 36-day fast and water. And at the end of that, that was after reading Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System. And after that, I was coming to the end of that, I found I was such a good person because someone could come into my environment and they could be really angry, or they could be really afraid, or they could be really nervous. And I have compassion. I could identify what they were feeling, but I was continuing to feel really good in my body. So I wasn't reactive. I wasn't responding to their feelings. And it seemed like, I had the energy and I could be much more compassionate person. So, this is, yeah. So I've seen a lot there. And then my best friend who was the owner of Aventura Natural Health forever, yeah. So, yeah. So there's people going, okay, when are we building these communities? When are we creating these great schools where children know, what I want, what we want to teach you kids? We want to teach you, you deserve to be happy. We want you to be happy. And your education, that's just like a gift. So you can create more value with your life. You can be more and you can be happier. Right? That's like, yeah. So to create these schools, and I promised that I would try to create places too for people that need help in healing, like people who, I saw someone die of obesity. Oh my gosh. And that's like one of the worst ways to die, people, but yeah, I'm
Eating
still,
ourselves to death. Most of us do that, right?
yeah,
Just,
but the
these
real,
obese people do it at an extreme level.
yeah. And we're trying to get her help, realizing there wasn't really help out there. People would take her kid away, take her daughter away, and put the daughter in some kind of foster care, which doesn't turn out to be good for people. But yeah, so that I try to create spaces where people can get the loving help they need. People with sickle cell, that they're not supposed to be stressed, and right away they're taking these kids to hospitals and removing organs. Excuse me, remember, they're not supposed to be stressed. Yeah.
You mentioned about teaching kids how to be happy. I think it's the other way around. We
Well,
we
they teach
we,
us.
we unteach kids. We teach them to be miserable and
Yeah.
moody and all that. It's unless we should open up and listen to and watch the children, because if we go back in time to when we were kids, we were always happy playing outside. But what's happening today? We've created these societies where that's been all taken away for the most part, and everybody's
Yeah.
inside, and we're teaching them to get away from the nature. Basically, nature is where we're happy.
Yeah.
Everybody feels better in nature with the sun shining and the grass, the wind blowing, whatever, snowing. Everybody feels better in nature. So we can learn a lot from children, and they can teach us, because if we leave it up to adults, we're gonna be where we are right now.
Yeah, yeah. And animals. I had a horse one time, and when it would snow, I could go in and out of its barn as it wanted to. And it loved to be outdoors, it loved to be in the snow or the rain. It had a choice. So that was interesting to see. Yeah, but what we want to tell kids is that, here's what we want you to know. And everything else, on top of that, just should add to your happiness, to your sense of value. Yeah. But yeah, and I've been able to get different people together, people who are under the umbrella of mental retardation, right? People with Down syndrome together with juvenile delinquent youth, teenagers, and that was amazing for how these two groups of people that I was working with help to encourage each other and heal each other. We got to get people playing more, right? Communicating more. Like the guys who are under the umbrella of that idea of being developmentally disabled, whatever the proper terms are. I took them, they would show me that they could run circles around me, sometimes mathematically, because I figured out that I could take everyone out for a movie and food if they had $5. They could do something with every week, right? And yeah, and I could see the intelligence there, and I said, it's crazy that I'm the only one that's allowed to drive, so I took them to Grand Prix Racerama, or they could race go-karts. And Billy's like, yeah, he jumps in, he's jumping over, the barriers where you're supposed to know. So I was told they had to come back with responsible adults, responsible people to drive for them. So then I go and I get, the kids who are feeling sorry for themselves because, growing up in poverty and all that. And what I found so much with these kids is that they would have, did I just lose you? They were having physical problems, and this wasn't really being documented so much in school. So they were being written up as if, oh, this person has a terrible memory, and that wasn't the case at all. But yeah, when his blood sugar would be going crazy, he would have problems. So yeah, I was seeing this with the kids that I had. But yeah, it was fun when they got to be the responsible drivers for these guys, and it was, yeah, that I've been able to do some really good things in my life so far, but I feel like, all right, I think I'm a grown up now,
Yeah,
ready to go out, meet the other grown ups. Yeah.
we interpret things wrongly a lot. We were just discussing, what Steve's going through and how, what most people would interpret it as, getting cramps and so on and so forth, and what we interpret it as from our understanding through our experiences, completely different, night and day difference in the understanding. And who's correct? Well, what we've seen with healing is leaps and bounds to anything else. So I don't know if that's working back towards balance has any truth, then that would be the way that I would lean towards. And keep it very simple. We don't have to know the who, what, where, when, why, how, but we have a process that we know that works. So we stick to it and we adjust when we learn more from that. Very simple. But hello Sarah and Tatiana. For yourself, uh, I don't know, what have you been doing with your diet the last several years?
A lot, spending time with the master fast, and then when my friend was dying and he started wanting like foods that his mom made for him and stuff. So I didn't know how to go. No. You have to eat, yeah. So, I've been just like a leaf blowing in the wind, but I know that I'm a lot healthier than a lot of people my age, because I've been lucky. I got to know intelligent people growing up. I got to have some good teachers. I got to introduce the Seminoles to both David Wolf, who's both he's created a foundation to help Native Americans live on fertile soil again. And I got to introduce them to Dr. Gabriel Cousins, who wrote The Cure for Diabetes. And he said 7 Native Americans he works with aren't testing diabetic anymore. And yeah, and it seems like when people get dramatically taken from what they've been doing, like the people from Hawaii and the Native Americans, I don't know, diabetes seems to be a result of that crazy diet change. And I work with children, and I'd see kids that their parents were like, oh, we can just afford the $1 McDonald's sandwich, right? And then kids going to hospitals because of diverticulitis, right, where their intestines are blocking up and stuff. Just, yeah. So how we start communicating about it, how we have to show actual proof with our own bodies, right? But more and more people are becoming aware.
Yeah, my understanding is completely different than most people. You can cure diabetes, doesn't mean you're in a healthy state.
Right.
So, just getting rid of your use of insulin, that can easily happen with some things people do, but you're still in an obstructive lifestyle, as far as my understanding goes. So we don't give any life to those diagnoses. We just keep it simple with live in balance or in a balanced lifestyle and let the soul do its work. We don't need to have the understanding of who we're where and why not, why, how, and all this stuff.
Right.
There was diabetics on master fast got lowered their insulin right away. Some of them got off the insulin right away, and then went back to the insulin after because of their eating, right? So it's we all have to choose our paths, and nobody can.
Yeah, I think we need to have
Yeah,
compassion for each other. We need to have great compassion and help each
Yeah,
other.
of
Because I
course.
know, like with these Native Americans, their alcoholism and their diabetes is like, taking
Huge.
them. Mhm.
Yeah, I think for the most part, probably because they come from, being in complete harmony with nature, and it's such a
Mhm.
dramatic difference from where they were to what our civilized societies are.
Mhm.
And you see that with all the Aboriginals on all different continents. It's the same
Mhm.
story. I have the PDF about the story about the Aboriginals in Australia.
Yeah.
HP sent me, Hans Peter, and it's, the white man went there and they seen these people that were all very, very slim, underweight according to them,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
no signs of any disease, perfect teeth,
Mhm.
lots of hair.
Yeah.
And if you look at them, they had the same story with a lot of diabetics and obesity in them.
Mhm.
Once they got forced climatized to the civilization.
Yeah.
So, they weren't, these Aboriginals, for the most part, they did not eat 7 days a week. I can assure you that.
Mhm.
They floated around lots of days throughout the year without eating. And I'm sure they were not worried about it because they trusted in the, nature taking care of them. They trusted it so much.
Mhm. And my mother talked about how they were so much more sensitive to each other. Like, yeah, it's almost like mind reading. They would know if somebody needed help, they would feel it.
We can learn so much from nature and the stars. We just have to
Mhm.
pay attention to what's happening. This is where, in Massive Fast we use the cycles. We try and work with the cycles as best we can. The daily, the weekly, the monthly, the season changes. Then you have the yearly, and then you have the every 9 years. And there's probably many, many, many others in between and longer than that. But just working a little bit with those cycles, wow, what a difference. Profound that makes. Instead of working in dissonance, you're working in harmony. Big difference.
Mhm.
Big difference. If we look at the tuning of music, we go back to that, which has been standardized at A equals 440. We see dissonance happening when people listen to music tuned to the international standard. When we bring it down to the tone of the universe, 432, we don't see any dissonance. We see harmony. All the animals are tuned to that, and if we if we pay attention and tune ourselves into that tone of this universe, we will be in a much better state. It's people promoting 444, which is the 528 love frequency. I'm not into frequencies, and the reason why is because of the experiments we ran. I've shared this before, and that frequency was, from our experiences, shattered aura like glass. So I would not be anywhere near anything to do with that or any frequencies because of what we've seen, the instant change of state they can bring to the physical body. And the key is we don't have a full understanding.
Mhm.
That's the problem. So stay away from it. Work with what we understand. Trust in nature, trust in the universe. Why work with these things that we don't have a full understanding of the repercussions? Frequencies are a man-made theory, matter state, a thing that we're trying to change fields. It doesn't work that way. From the new understanding, it works the other way around. It works, the fields create the matter. So any time we're playing in the frequency world, we're playing with fire as far as I'm concerned. So we let that stuff go, and we just um, try and be in harmony with the number of creation, 432, divine 9, 4 plus 3 plus 2 is 9. Works beautiful. Working with nines, 9 is divine. So there's so many little things that we may not think about, but man, oh man. If we look at, what was his name?
Right.
The one who played with frequencies many years ago, he became a drunk. What was his name? Was it? I can't remember his name, but yeah, that was interesting. He was able to cure cancer and all this stuff, and so on and so forth. The days of the innocence, way back then, and now that we know much more, we're in a much worse state. But all because of obstructions, living in disharmony.
But you know, they say if you look at like where human beings came onto the planet, like you look where life first came onto the planet, and then if you look where people first came onto the planet, we're like 2 seconds into it. We're just pretty new. And I know that, you know, I talked about working with, you know, who is called juvenile delinquents, right? And I took them to this main library to get a tour. And I was so nervous because I knew, you know, how bad these kids could be. And one of my students saw how nervous I was. And he's like, here, Miss Barbara, put on my earphones. And it was a group called See Murder was the name of the group I was listening to. But it was just like the right frequency or something to calm me down. And this kid knew, you know, I see so much genius with these kids, but you know, he knew that would help me relax, you know, from where I was at. And I thought, you know, if we could just start sharing more of this information, making it more available to people.
Yeah, like
And I swear there were angels working with me when I was working with these kids.
I'm sure.
Because, yeah.
We, a friend of mine knew a woman that was working with, mentally challenged children and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And when she introduced the 432 music, everything changed. They were much more calm, serene, happier, just playing 432 music.
Mhm.
It's, profound. Just, put a CD on a couple times a day, or just leave it in the background and just leave it running very, very low. You don't need to be playing it loud. And you see how the atmosphere changes. It's just
Yeah.
amazing. Pretty amazing. Um, there's a few people that ran different experiments with plants and with healing and 432. So it's interesting, but I don't like to go into the world of frequencies. I call it 432 tone,
Mm.
because frequencies is not a place where I want to be playing with after what we saw, and we don't have a full understanding. That's why play with something that you don't have a full understanding. It's just like the nuclear power plants.
Mhm.
Look what man has created, and when something happens, they have no control over it. That's
Mhm.
the same example, similar example. We shouldn't be playing with this stuff.
Well, when I was, you know, I would take the Victory Living guys, the guys who, number of them had Down syndrome. They were there for different reasons. And when I would take them bowling, and they were so wonderful. You know, if somebody got a gutter ball, they would go, Billy, your ball went further down the alley than it did last time. You know, they would just cheer each other on. So then when I took the kids, you know, the teenagers to play the same place, some reason it was the most amazing thing. I kept getting strikes. I kept getting all the pins down, and I don't can't normally do that. You know, and the kids would go, Miss Barbara, how come you're so good? And I'd say, well, because I play with the Victory Living guys, and they don't make fun of each other. They don't put each other down. You know, they just encourage each other, and I think that's where this good bowling that you see me doing comes from. And, I was so glad to be able to share that information. And, and I'm still like, how did I get that help? Right? How did I get, that good bowling? It was, yeah, I totally know that, there's all kinds of life that helps life, or all kinds of death that helps life. I don't know what to say, but I know that there's definitely love on this planet, and we need to, I'm glad that I'm getting to talk to you.
Awesome.
And I see Raina as being just one of the most loving women I know. And I watch her responding to people always. Yeah.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you.
You can see her complexion much better now because we've got new lights to help with.
Yeah.
You can see how she's glowing.
Yeah. That's you. That's having a good husband. She said, "Isn't my husband handsome?" One time we were talking. I love that.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of a difference, I think, the light. We got different ones to try different ones out, but anyway, people pay attention to all that stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm not photogenic. When people come over, they go, "Man, you look completely different than when you're on the videos. You're much better in real life." Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, you look good in photos and videos. You do look good. It's just sometimes we don't, just the lighting is important.
And it's hard to stand up against people that want to criticize and want to tell you what they see is wrong. It's hard to. They did an experiment, one of the schools, where somebody, every time these kids would pass them by, they would say, "Oh man, you don't look good. What's wrong?" And that person ended up becoming sick. It was a psycho experiment they were doing.
Because when we take in things and we allow it to happen, we have the choice to block it off and send it back to the earth to recycle. We do have that choice. That's what we have to remember. That's why the saying goes, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me." If you consciously have that, if you're in that state, instead of everybody crying about people treating them bad and so on and so forth, whatever, just send it back to the earth, recycle it, and move on. Lawsuits happen because of words.
Yeah, people get divorced because of words.
And so, yeah, it's interesting times, that's for sure, that we're going through. Major transformative times for a whole of humanity. We are in the age of light and love of time of Aquarius. That's we're at the beginning stages for that shift, and nothing can stop that, no matter what others are trying to do. Nothing can stop that. The light will prevail. The light has prevailed, but living in the slow motion realm on Earth, things take time. We call it the slow motion realm. So let's embrace the change, and let's keep focusing on where we want to be and be that change. Give more light into that. All the other stuff it is what it is. Tomorrow there's a huge, big worldwide protest happening.
World Happiness Day.
Sorry?
Tomorrow's supposed to be World Happiness Day.
Oh, that too? Okay, great. Awesome. Should be World Happiness Day every day.
Yeah.
Just like when we were children.
I won a Toastmaster contest when I was traveling with my cousin, and I said, it's the first time in my entire life I could get out of a car, go over, take my shoes off, ground, hug a tree, and I didn't have a family member going, "Stop doing that, act normal." Right. Yeah, they love the idea that, that family's starting to understand. And
yeah, if you do that with children, there's no problem with it. It's only the ego that gets in the way, right? Children don't have a developed ego. The ego is developed through what? Programming, through our parents and society's programming.
Yes.
So best is to stay quiet, be in your sleep, and let go of the ego. The more we can detach from the ego, the better off we'll be.
I
Not
want to
easy.
help network people because I'm meeting brilliant people who are doing good things, and I
Oh,
want people to know about them and to work together. Yeah.
tons of people doing wonderful, amazing things.
Mhm.
I wish it would be more, because the stuff I'm seeing, it's not nice. That's what some people are being put through. But
Yeah.
all for a lesson for, I don't know. So we got to embrace the change and let's elevate souls over and over and over. Continue sending them plaf
Mhm.
and be in better spirits as much as we possibly can, no matter what. Um, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Mhm. I like that. Mhm.
It's who was that by Trooper? Was it? I sang that
Mhm.
song. Yeah.
Sure. I'm
Anybody
looking at
else?
it.
Sorry. Sarah, what's happening?
I don't know, same shit, different day.
Same shit. I never had a same shit. They're always different.
Yeah, I'm still checking along.
Awesome. You guys back in work? What's happening on that end?
No, we're almost. We're still in distance learning.
Still, eh?
I mean, it all depends on it's county by county.
Right.
But my county just moved down to the next tier, so they're gonna start like school halftime for the kids. So we'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's craziness,
Yep.
but it's better than nothing. So get out of the house a little bit.
Yeah, it's I foresee all these people being held accountable. So Nuremberg 2, here we come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing's cool of what's happening. So the only cool thing is going to be is we're going to learn a big lesson as humanity as a whole. Big lessons for all of us with everything that's been going on this past year. We've hit a year mark, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
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 Yep.
So, away we go.
We hope we learn a lesson.
Yeah. If we look at from the past, not a good indication.
No.
We're in a different era, and things are shifting, even though it doesn't seem like it in a lot of levels. So you still, what are you doing lately, Sarah? What level are you living?
Oh, such a finicky question. I think I've definitely had a harder time being consistent in the last, I don't know, 6-9 months.
Yeah, well, that happens.
But it's more like probably like level 2.
How are you feeling?
Okay. I mean, I still feel good and I still see like healing reactions. But I think it's just harder being stuck at home
Yeah.
and dealing with it. But some weeks are better. Like sometimes I'll go a week and then I'll be off for 2 weeks or something. So it's like it's not consistent.
Yeah, well, we all can work on the consistency, that's for sure. Um,
Yeah.
As I've said in the past, there's some years you do lots of fasting, and other years you slow down a little bit, and that's just the way it is. And you keep going.
Yeah. My goal for myself this year was to not miss any full moon dries.
Awesome.
So far, so good.
Beautiful. Are you jumping in this season change?
Yeah. I was going to,
Very good.
which is followed shortly by the full moon. So that's pretty quick.
Yeah. The full moon is, this calendar doesn't have a full moon. When's the full moon this year? I mean, this month.
I think it's like the 26th.
Oh, okay. Next week, next Friday.
Yeah.
Full moon is fun. See lots of fun stuff. Are you practicing the breath work?
No, I'm terrible about that.
We highly suggest people put more emphasis on focusing on, nasal breathing and controlled pauses throughout the day. Just make it a habit. And when you're exercising the same thing, you're doing controlled pauses. Just consciously catch yourself. Make sure you're always nasal breathing and from the belly. And then it becomes automatic after a while. And it's harder to go off of it. So, but the beginning, for depending, everybody's different, but maybe a few weeks to several weeks to make it into a habit, because the breath work is powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
We feed the emotion through the nasal cavity. That's why essential oils, we were talking last Wednesday, essential oils are so powerful because we're getting the field straight through.
No, I definitely am the
Essential,
first to admit I need to get better at that.
essential oils work directly with emotion. Amazing. Rose, one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Heavenly, but
I find it helps me so much to get a friend, to that I do things with, like we become each other's accountability people, to talk and to help things that I know I should be doing that are good for me to do, that if I'm going to do it for a friend, with a friend, I'm so much stronger and more consistent, and it's great because we know we're helping each other.
yeah, it really helps. Like I had a couple friends who were doing the raw thing with when I was doing it. It makes it much easier.
Mhm.
Much easier. Get together, have meals together, and so on. Because you can't do it with anybody else. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody cares. Everybody thinks you're cuckoo, eating raw foods and fasting. Meanwhile, every single species on the planet does it, right?
I broke my ankle one time. I'm in a hospital, and they asked, what my diet would be, and I said, tell them I'm into raw foods. And at a hospital, all the dietitians and everybody there, they had no idea what I was talking about. Totally
Fresh, ripe fruit.
confused them. Mhm.
Fresh, ripe fruit. Simple.
Yeah. They ended up sending me up celery sticks and carrots finally. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. The major thing is, Barbara's try and get off all meds, wean yourself off as best you can, slowly, and get away from that stuff and start purging it out.
Yeah.
Once that stuff purges out, the pains will diminish tremendously, especially when you through the dry fast. Dry fasting states gets rid of pain very, very quickly. Very quickly. So,
Mhm.
But you have to purge, you have to clean out the bowels, right, to get to get to the most effect from the dry fast. When the GI tract is full of gunk, not much really happens that is pleasant. Tatiana, you want to say something?
Hi. Oh, I wanted to say when you were talking about how the camera distorts, like the light distorts, I just wanted to attest to how much you guys glow in real life. It's actually unreal. And like after seeing you guys, I'm like on a high for and like at least another day.
Yeah, I've had that a lot over the years. I'm not very photogenic, but it doesn't years. I don't care.
Yeah, no, you are.
Information is information. If you understand it, you understand it. If you're looking for something in a picture or something, then the understanding is not there. It's that simple.
I believe that you're photogenic. It's just we have, we're not professional videographers.
I don't know.
We learn.
The light is nice. I can see you better, but I'm in darkness today. um, I wanted to ask you guys a question.
That's what we're here.
This is kind of a funny question to ask, like more than a year in, but well, I'm starting my dry tomorrow. So today I did. Sorry? Yes, I'm like a year and a month.
Wow, awesome.
I graduated first grade of MFS. And it just seems like it's just getting started. That was like a training, warm up. So yeah, starting the dry fast tomorrow, and today was liquid MFS. And I'm just wondering, like, to me, it would feel better. Like I'm gonna do a colonic in the morning tomorrow, and then it would feel best if I did the bubbly right after that and started the dry.
Yeah, well, I'll learn and thank you so much for the question.
I'm gonna mute you, Barbara. Go ahead, Tatiana.
Yeah, so I know the instructions in the protocol, is to have your tea, pudding, and 1 liter of grape juice, then wash your bowels, then go into dry, right? But I'm just wondering if so today I did full MFS liquid day, and tomorrow morning have a colonic, then have a bubbly, and go into my dry like that. Because when the day that I'm going to go into a dry, when I have the pudding, like I feel like it stays in.
Yeah, you can go right into it. Yep.
That's
Just with the tea, sure.
Yeah, you can skip.
Now in a year, you understand, you've been through the cycles more and you've cleaned out quite a bit. Go for it.
Yeah.
And, see how it feels.
Yeah. Yeah, detail, but I just wanted to make sure, because I know every detail in the protocol is like super key and important. So
it is, especially for people coming off of North American or standard diets, basic diet.
Yeah.
You can take less of the plasma pudding. Is this what the question about the plasma pudding?
No, you can skip it.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is you can, you can skip
it's
it.
more like timing.
Or you can take less. I mean, we have done this. We have discussed this before. I think other people asked the question.
I've tried,
Of course, less is better. But I would say if you're going for, especially if you're going for a full, like the moon, the 3-day, the full moon one, because it's gonna be longer.
I've tried both, several times, and the pudding doesn't really bother me too much, even going into long dries. But if you're sensitive to it and the dry, leave it out. No big deal.
Yeah. And you can always take less because I don't know how much do you take normally?
I take like 3 tablespoons.
Yeah, like you can take 1 tablespoon or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a teaspoon. Because
Yeah, I like it. It's like my dessert. Actually, I look forward to it more, like a lot more than food.
yeah, me too. I love it. It's a meal.
Like, oh, tomorrow is
Great
fasting
meal.
day.
Sorry.
Yes, Steve.
What's that?
Oh, I thought you said something, Steve.
No.
Yeah.
I've changed my drives too, the prep. I do the last few drives. Kalimas, 2 days, two Kalimas per day, 2 days before the drive. And then I stop the pudding. I don't use the pudding on the day before the drive. And it's been much easier to go through the drive.
Mm,
Just get out empty as clean as I can.
Yep.
very good. Steve, I remember you mentioned that you do like your routine, you do the Kalima at night.
Yep.
How do you keep that when you're eating? You
I
still
just
do
do
that
it.
when-
I don't, doesn't, I
Sorry?
do it anyway. Yeah.
You do it anyway? So like, I guess you eat earlier in the day or something?
Yeah, well, I only eat once,
Mhm.
twice a day at the most.
Yeah.
I don't go beyond 6, it doesn't matter. I use the Kalima is usually about 5 o'clock.
I like your schedule. It sounds nice.
And I usually eat like, I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, last meal.
Mhm.
It works.
Yeah, everybody's got to find their own schedule to make it work for them. It's that simple.
Yeah, rhythm.
The rhythm.
I'm
But then the days I work, the days I'm not working, I've been doing 1 in the morning, 1 at night. The Kalimas.
Mhm. Just super clean. Squeaky clean.
Well,
Helps.
the last one before the drive, before the 2-day drive, there's like nothing. I mean, just clear water went in, came right back up.
Mhm.
First time there was like very, very little in the way of anything being flushed out. I mean, there was nothing in there.
Very good. I'm excited. I'm so
And I
excited.
don't
Try.
experience any kidney pain anymore.
Wow.
Usually even, well, I don't know how long it's been. But even 2, 3 hours, 4 hours into a dry, even daily dry, I would get some, at the end of my daily, there would be a little bit of, not pain, but, they start talking. And then if I was going into like, full day plus dry, forget it, by 30 hours, it would be. And now there's nothing. This last couple of dries, absolutely nothing, no pain whatsoever.
Amazing. So good to hear.
Yeah,
They're like new. The kidneys are like new now.
well, I don't know. Sure, there's more to go, but I don't miss the pain.
Right.
I'm sure like the chemo is that all that pain that you went through trying to get out.
But this stupid thing, I'm telling you, God, it's not so much that, but just putting the freaking pharmaceuticals back in, it just totally fucks up the system.
Yeah,
Everything is just so out of whack, out of balance.
yeah, but it's nowhere near where you.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not. But
It feels.
it's very uncomfortable because I got into such a place where it was like, and now it's just out. It's not out far. I know that. It's
You're
not
gonna get it back quick. It's a few weeks
Yeah.
and you'll be back.
But that was the reason I joined this gym, because I'm not doing anything as far as any yoga. I can't do any of that. I don't know. There's no balance whatsoever. So I had, so at least with rejoining the gym, I can at least, I started on the bike yesterday, so at least do a little bit of movement before, because this arm is like really thin right now. All the muscles just atrophying.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do trampoline? Or no?
I don't have any. I don't have one here.
But Steve, I
The
missed.
gym was all right. Actually, today it was nice that the bike sits right in the front window and the sun was right on me. So I was
Okay.
just sitting in the sun, pedaling.
Sounds really good. I missed the beginning of the call.
I didn't have the mask on either. I had the tongue here.
Oh, good.
So what was that, Tatiana?
I missed the beginning of the call. I don't know, Stephen, you mentioned how the arm's doing, like you still feel the pain and you're going,
night-
not
nighttime.
taking nothing for
At nighttime, yeah.
night then. Yeah.
Not so bad during the day.
Yeah, that's
But it's
one.
not horrible. It's not horrible. But it's just,
It's come down.
well, it was waking me up. I was not. That's what was happening. I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
Night before last, it was freaking horrible. I got like no sleep. And the body's trying to freaking repair itself. So
Yeah.
You're just drained. There's very little energy left for anything else.
It's a lot. I mean, it's bones. And it went through.
Yeah, bone, my God. I've been hurt many times over my course of my life, but
It went
bone
through-
is a whole nother experience.
You never broke any bones?
No.
It went through the accident and then through the surgery, and the body went through the anesthesia, the full anesthetic, and then the drugs for painkillers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of trauma on the body.
I broke my collarbone. My mother said when I was 1 year old, I fell out of the bed. I don't remember quite.
1 year
Yeah.
old,
So-
when you're a baby, it's very hard to break bones.
Yeah, well, I did.
It must have been a very bad fall.
The only other thing I had was a fractured rib. I fell off my bike, bicycle. That was pretty painful. It's hard to breathe
Mm.
when you have anything with ribs. And a toe once, I kicked a piece of concrete by accident.
You hate
That-
that? Yeah.
It took a while to heal, but yeah, the fractures they're usually longer than breaks. Fractures.
He told me 6 weeks. It's like, shit.
Oh, it's in a fasting state. It's quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
problem.
just based on their experience, 6 weeks. We'll see. I gotta go Tuesday. We'll see what they say.
Mhm.
I, you know,
Even though I was thinking that
I push it when I take it off. I see how far I can go, and I can open it up each time I try it. I can straighten it out a little bit more than before the pain shoots up. So it's getting there. And all the bruising is, there's still some, but it's way down. The rest of the arm is, because they took a freaking beating. It's not just the bone, it's the rest of the arm got beat to shit.
yeah.
So all that is, the front's all healed. There's a little bit of bruising here and a little bit left here. That's it.
Mhm.
It's,
I was thinking your eyes look exceptionally, to me, look exceptionally like clear and
well, thank you.
expressive. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
I always heal pretty quick anyway.
Very good. Isn't it amazing? It's amazing what you went, what you just went through, and
It's 2 weeks now.
Tuesdays, was it Friday, 4, 12, 14, 17 days,
Yeah. Okay.
16 days, 17, I don't know, something like that. It was happening on the 3rd, 16 days.
sending healing fluff. Do you know I have the alarm now on my phone for 4:32?
Awesome.
Well, I had it for a while, but yeah. Sending healing fluff
Today I spilled some
for those kinds of things.
cannabis tincture on my phone at my mother's. And I picked it up right away, dried it, and it wasn't working properly. I go, oh no. And then I just tried to shake it out, took the battery and everything. And
Mhm.
I had no sound that was working. I go, oh man. So I took everything out, I put it in the sun, let it dry, and started working again.
Good.
I think the alcohol is not as bad as the water. 'cause it-
Water, yeah. Very nice. Saved. I like your purple phone case.
Purple, it's a very
It's a good color.
powerful spiritual color.
Very good color.
You know, those ranges of colors, the violet, the purple, bluish.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I always like green.
Grape juice,
Right, grape juice.
deep purple.
Green for me, spring,
I like
Oh, yeah.
renewal.
Coming.
I always equate green with renewal,
I think it's
rebirth.
one of the most abundant colors on the planet. Right? Greenery.
Yep.
green and blue, the water.
Well, I mean, on the
skies.
earth, you have the water and then you have the sky. So blue would be even more dominant because there's more water than
No,
land and more sky than land.
yeah, the green land is not really that much.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the earth, just the
Not
earth,
anymore.
yeah, itself, the
Yeah.
land mass.
Yeah.
We don't live in the water. Not yet.
I mean, color has so much to offer. I mean, isn't it amazing that we even see color? I think colors can feed us in a way too. Like
Oh, absolutely. And you see the wonderful colors in animal kingdom. Hi.
oh, yeah.
The way the colors are mixed and so on and so forth, just pretty amazing. Just
The insects, the
jaw dropping, like when you see some of these animals. Holy jeez, is this for real?
I know. It's a very
Like,
talented artist's work.
yeah, like I remember growing up, the toucan in the cartoons, you know, the toucan.
Mhm.
I didn't think that was a real animal, but it is a real. Years later, I found out that's a real bird. You know, and there's,
Bird?
Which bird?
the one with the big beak.
Yeah.
They used to have the cartoon. What was it called?
Yeah,
That
the one who.
not the woodpecker.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Woody Woodpecker.
I don't remember what the toucan was called. I don't remember. I remember the cartoon.
Yeah, what was it?
They say birds have more cones in their eyes, enabling them to see more colors than humans see. And
Wow.
that's part of the reason that they can be so colorful.
Well,
Direct descendants of dinosaurs, the bird kingdom,
Mhm.
hollow bones.
they're if you look in the tropics, the birds have way more colors, intense colors than the birds in the winterlands, you know. And I guess for camouflage or whatever, you know. Up here we have, you know, sparrows like grayish, brownish tinge, and we got blue jays. I don't know if the blue jays are here in the winter. Cardinals. We have quite a few different birds up here, but the more colorful ones are in the tropics, the hot places. But there's like over 10,000 different species of birds only on the planet
That they know of.
that they know of. Yeah, they're being created all the time, new ones, because there's always new ones being discovered. So
Love when you share pictures of all the beautiful creatures.
I know, yeah. I'm a big fan of those, you know.
the animal kingdom, it keeps me motivated just seeing the beauty of Creator. It's just like, it's awesome. Every insects, whatever, reptiles and whatever animals, they all blow me away. Some of them is just, wow, you know, some of these photographers are capturing just amazing photographs of the wildlife these days. It's just beautiful. You know, real close-ups and details, and it's just, look at the all the little details in these animals. Wow, it's just like, and there's no God, okay,
I know.
no creator. All of it's by accident, random explosion created it all. Maybe it did, but it's through intelligence.
care.
It's got to be respected, that's all.
There has to be intelligence behind it. You know, everything's perfectly mathematically correct,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
The same signature everywhere, you know? You can recognize the same artist's hand. That's what I always think. Like, pick up like a shell and it's like shaped like a brain, you know, and it's like you recognize the artist's touch. And like I went to art school, you can always spend a lot of time looking at art and can always recognize an artist's work, you know, by their hand. They leave a part of themselves in it.
Hmm.
Their emotion, yeah, so I always look at that.
Yeah. I was, when I was young, I used to draw and stuff and paint a little bit. You become good at it when you continue doing it, right?
Mhm.
So then I was a grade, they had separate art classes in grade 9, I think, or 10, I can't remember. I took all the way up to 12, I think I took art. And then that's it, I was done with it. The teachers kept a couple of my nice stuff. If I would have known, I would have kept them. But my dad was also an artist. I posted some of his paintings that he's done. My mother's got some hanging in her house, and some in my brother's house, and in one of my uncle's house, and a few other of them remain in Italy. Some of his work. But yeah, it's art is amazing. Everybody's an artist if you just
Oh yes.
you know, develop it.
But I was told if you want to see more beauty in the world, get an Italian friend, because their whole culture has been about beauty and creating art forever. So they'll see more beauty and they'll be able to point out more to you. That seems right. I've seen that. Yeah, it seems.
Yeah, well, Italy's a lot of it, but that's all over the world. Italy, there was just, especially through the Renaissance times, amazing people.
The nature in Italy is so beautiful, which
I feel like it sings.
It
Sorry.
sings.
Yeah, like it's like it reminds you of opera. Like it's, you know, it just has a different like movement to it than like nature here, you know.
That's why the Italian language is it's like a song. It's a melody.
Like yes.
It's,
I mean, here is like a, you know, just a different song, but it's like a. I hear opera.
yeah, my sister's is an opera singer.
I remember. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She sings here, or
yeah,
there?
well, she stopped a few years ago when I introduced her to 432. After that, and nobody in the opera scene here in Toronto wanted to hear about it, even though Giuseppe Verdi, which is the greatest opera composer, was tuned to 432. They don't want to hear about it because the standard, international standard, is 440. So yeah, we tested on her and other singers, and there's absolutely no comparison. There's no vocal strain in 432 in singers. She didn't have to warm up in 432, and 440 she'd have to warm up all day to do go do a practice or an opera. So yeah, it makes a big difference. If you understand dissonance and in harmony, it's that simple. Why do singers not they are not strained in 432 and they are in 440? Oh, it's because blah blah blah. They give you all these Luciferic and intellect answers that don't make any sense, right? It's just because of what they've been trained that spews out. That if you look at things through logic, wow, there's no strain there. That must be correct. That's all you need to know, right? There's no strain. You don't need to intellectualize theory through it. It's so simple. All the animals, they're tuned in that. The birds and the bees and everything. It's pretty interesting.
Do you know how are you doing your experiments with the tuning? I think once you mentioned that, like you would like check out the person's aura after they've been
we
close
did.
to it.
with that there, we did it with, we infused the frequencies in water, and then we had a volunteer drink the water, and then we did the Kirlian photography immediately after. And it completely changes everything instantaneously.
Wow.
Instantaneously. I can still remember a friend who drank that 528 water. As soon as he drank it, he didn't know what we were giving him. As soon as you put it to his lips, he goes, "Oh boy!" And then he took a drink. As soon as he put it to his lips, it was really interesting. And come back, holy geez, or was shattered like glass. I've shared the photo, those photos. We did many experiments in water and with the Cameron orometer. We did experiments on athletes' endurance. We did experiments on how big the aura field would change and so on and so forth. With the children I mentioned earlier, special needs children.
Yeah, like from
I remember two different people that were stuttering immediately stopped stuttering when we introduced 432 on them. Completely stopped, and they after, you know, we didn't say anything until they figured out that they stopped stuttering, and they would say.
you played it. You played the music, the tone.
We infused it into them
Okay.
in a way that they really didn't know what was happening. So it's very powerful. On the friends of ours who playing in a band, I think I shared this, that it was the whole atmosphere. The first time we seen it in a bar setting, the body language was completely different of the people when they played in 432. And then they told us a place they played up in Oshawa regularly, where there's every single time a band played, there was fights, and they went to play in 432. There was no fights, and they did it again. There was no fights. So it was very interesting. Where this is a place known to have fights every single time there's a band playing. It's a very aggressive atmosphere, right? So it just shows you how music can change the state. If you know you want to be put in people in an aggressive state, you can do it with sound. If you want to put people in a beautiful, loving state, you can do it with sound. This is the power, and is why we refuse to play with frequencies anymore, because they are doing this in the military as weapons, frequency weapons. And so you don't want to be playing with this stuff, because we don't know the repercussions. Like all this stuff that we're using, this is all frequency based, right? So that's why we do as many things as we can to protect ourselves. Nano coated copper is one of the best to absorb and bring balance. You just get some stranded copper wire, put it in a figure 8, or just open one end, and then nano coat it, and then just tape it on your phone, on your computer, on your Wi-Fi. Charcoal. Keep charcoal around. This is some hardwood charcoal.
Very good.
Black.
No.
Remember the color black. The absence of color. All colors contained within it.
Oh.
There's different stones, shungite and stuff. Crystals. Keep crystals around. Just do everything you can. Keep GANs around. There's many things we can do to help. There's ferret cages, if anybody knows what those things are. It's basically a ferret cage is a wire mesh arrangement that encompasses whatever thing is emitting frequency. So people have you can do search on these ferret cages. There's people who are really, really sensitive to these different frequencies and wavelengths. And what they do is they do this stuff all through their house and put these ferret cages on their
Walls.
on the walls and on the windows and stuff because they're so sensitive. And
Yeah.
then, you know, you go with a meter and you can see the difference like night and day. There's even this paint, I think it's from Germany, that's been developed. It's black, this paint, and it protects against
EMF.
the EMFs and so on and so forth. But then to cover that paint, they're black. My goodness, how many coats you're gonna have to do because it's black. And there's something that they infused in the paint, but it's very, very expensive. I believe we can make it in a with we can do with ganzes and maybe put some charcoal in there and different things. We should make your own. Yeah, I did the house. I put ocean water, a little bit of ocean water, like an ounce of ocean water in a gallon of paint, stir it up, and you feel the difference once you painted the house. The state of the elements, you can feel them. Very powerful. I remember that when I first did it, people walked in because I used to have a lot of people come through the house. And this, you know, the same people would come and say, "Yeah, you changed the color, but there's a whole different sense of feeling, you know," and so on and so forth. I got that comment quite a few times when I did that. There's some people who do crushed crystals. They'll crush the crystals to powder, and they'll throw them in the paint. So yeah, there's lots of stuff we can do.
Do you even you painted the outside of the house?
Not the outside. The outside is brick. You can't paint it if you don't want to.
Or like elements of it or whatever?
Yeah, just the walls, the inside the walls. But like that, yeah, that paint you can do the outside or you can do the inside, right? And like I said, it's
Yeah.
if you buy that paint, I can't remember what the name of it was. EMF paint, you'd be able to find it. And that's I can't remember what a gallon was. It wasn't cheap. I think
And
5-gallon pail.
I
Was
just
like
want to get a picture of how you changed your place.
yeah, it's like $1,000 for a 5-gallon pail or something. It's not cheap. So there's lots of things you can do. But nano-coated copper, you know, you can get junk wire anywhere and just start nano-coating it. All you need is caustic, right? The lye, caustic, to make nano coating. There's tons of videos on how to do it. It's not difficult. You can, the very, very simple way is make a solution and then get a Ziploc bag and put your copper in there and just spray it inside and seal it up with the least amount of air. Seal it, put it in the sun and leave it there for the longer the better. And it becomes nano coating. You got to remember when you're working with caustic, it's very, very corrosive. Caustic is very high pH. What is it? It's at least 12, maybe 14, very high. It's very corrosive. So on the pH chemistry scale, you got both ends are very corrosive. You got the acid and you got the base, they call it, they're alkaline. So alkalize is not true. It's balance is what we go for. Forget about chemistry and health. If for anything to do with chemicals and stuff, yeah, you should know your chemistry. But to put it towards health, I haven't seen anybody figure that out because you're not going to figure it out because you're trying to work through matter to affect the fields instead of the other way around. What we're doing in Masterfast, we're focusing on the fields to create the matter that we want. And that's why we see such a dramatic effect and change. So that's what we focus on. But what else? I'm missing something else we can do. Oh, dry fast.
I was just going to say,
I knew there was something missing.
like, then you become the crystal, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Your dry fasting state, from my experience, flying and so on, absolutely no jet lag. Instantaneously adjust to time change, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if most people probably don't know, when you're in a airplane, there's tons of radiation, tons. They call it jet lag. It ain't jet lag. It's being exposed to radiation. That's what it is.
We get dehydrated.
There was a
We
guy.
get dehydrated on the airplane.
Yeah, it's obstruction. It's a field of obstruction. There was a guy I remember in a plane flying with his Geiger meter, Geiger counter. What do they call it?
Geiger counter.
Yeah, and he was in the plane and he said, look at the numbers on this. It's crazy. And then the stewardess came, put that thing away. Because it's freaking out people. Yeah, it's like through the roof, the radiation. So people who fly a lot and they got horrible diets, they ain't gonna have a good balanced life, I can tell you that. Pilots and so on, stewardess and so on and so
Oh,
forth.
yeah, for stewardess.
The dry fasting state, you won't have any problems. Or you're gonna have much less problems than somebody who doesn't. Because we know the body can get rid of all that stuff, bring it back to balance, and through a fasting lifestyle. So it's a no-brainer. It's like, but do we want to live this lifestyle? That's the question.
I'm imagining a dry fasting stewardess.
Yeah, especially if they, all the time. They have dry fasting windows, and then they on the days off they dry it out and get rid of it. But you can see a lot of these people working airplanes, since they're not glowing in health. Pay attention.
It's tough. Bless their souls.
Yeah, they just a lot of people just don't know. Same thing with diets. A lot of people don't know, even though the information is all available at fingertips today. Just people just don't know. We're not taught to take care of ourselves, right? We're taught to, you don't feel well, go to your doctor. Somebody else will take care of you. And that's the challenge. If you teach people one thing is be responsible for yourself and educate yourself on your health and everything else, and everything takes care of itself. Rely on somebody else for your health. Okay. You will be experimented on. As far as my understanding goes.
It's 10:40. Should we do meditation?
Yeah.
Just
Hi,
wanted to update you. I've been being criticized. You're fasting too much. You're always sick. And yes, I'm blowing my nose constantly and have a sore throat.
Now?
Yeah.
Hooray! Hallelujah.
Yeah, but I've been really criticized. Like, don't fast so much.
Yeah, that's why it's best to stay silent and to tell people.
Yeah, well, no, I don't tell them like my employees, but my husband can't help but notice, right? I guess I was pushing the dries every weekend now, Thursday 5 p.m. till Sunday 5. Although often I didn't make it until Sunday, I made it till Saturday 5.
Your husband doesn't live fasting lifestyle?
No, he loves eating, he says. Well, it's just vegan junk, low fat vegan cooked meals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But he supports, like, he knows that my second office is the bathroom where I have my Colima set up, and I do my thing every single day, except dry days. Yeah.
It's amazing that you've been fasting for so many years and this stuff's still coming up.
Amazing, isn't it? Well, I did smoke for 10 years or so.
Yeah,
about 25 years ago, 27 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
and
is the power of, master fasting. It just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. We have not seen any plateau.
mhm.
Plateaus when you start eating. It's incredible to see, because we've had long-term fruitarianism that were just purging out all kinds of crap, and they thought they were clean. It's just it was very interesting. So it's awesome. It's awesome that we can do it, prudently and safely. Um, Anything else happening?
I'm trying to quit coffee. I just,
Coffee?
yeah, just a tiny bit. I just have a tiny bit.
Espresso?
Yeah. I have that little Italian Lagostina espresso maker. It's horrible. I should just give it away, and then
Coffee smells so good.
I know. It's just like sometimes I just buy the coffee, then it's this organic mix, and just smell it. That's all. Just smell it for half
Yeah.
an hour.
Yeah, it's like essential oil, right? So just smell it.
Yeah, I went out and got the grapefruit one that you recommended.
Yeah. How's that working?
It goes away very fast. Like I put it on my wrist, and it smells amazing. And I'm not hungry. I don't crave anything. But within 15 minutes, it's gone. Where did it go?
Smell is gone?
15 minutes.
No, the smell is gone, or the hunger
Yeah.
comes back?
Oh, it doesn't come back. You're right. The hunger, I didn't investigate it. Hunger doesn't come back. Just the smell is gone.
Oh, okay.
So it did the job, right?
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
Very good.
Get rid of those cravings. Yeah, I've never tried it myself, that oil, but many people have recommended that it helps with hunger. Yeah, cravings.
There's herbal coffee also.
Oh, I hate them.
No,
I mean, the dandelion is
tried.
not.
It's not the same.
No. They don't even have a smell. And I
Like drinking non-alcoholic beer. No damn point to it.
Yeah, or non-alcoholic wine, grape juice.
Yeah.
for sure. Anyway, just wanted to update you that I'm down and feeling blah. But
Good news. Awesome.
yeah.
Come
I've
for the
been
road.
on level 7 for almost 2 weeks now, and yeah, pushing it, right?
Allowing.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you for the support.
Keep digging.
Yep.
We go for
Yes.
meditation. Whoever's in.
Yes, please.
That sounds good.
I feel a big difference doing it on my own versus when doing it with other people.
Oh, yeah.
Big difference.
100%.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's get comfortable.
Fell off the wagon. I got, involved in.
And if we're sitting, feet on the floor, flat, put your hands in a comfortable position. The regular mudra or the heart mudra I like to do. And just let the body just relax and start focusing on cycling the breath. On the inhale, we take it in from the bottom of the spine all the way up. On the exhale, we come down the front of the body. Inhale up. Exhale down. 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 Now let's bring that attention to the area below the belly button. And keep the focus on the breath in that area. If you want to think of a mini tornado spinning counterclockwise, you can do. Some people want to keep it simple and just focus on the breath. If the mind wanders, bring it back. Let's move the attention down to the genitalia. Testes for men, ovaries for women. Keep the tongue to the roof of the mouth or roll it back and suck on it. With each breath, we go deeper and deeper, bringing balance to that area. Let's move our attention to the perineum between the anus and testes or genitalia. Let's move our attention to the tailbone. With each breath, we move towards balance in that area. Let's move our attention to the kidney area, up the spine, just between the two kidneys. Let's move our attention up the spine a bit to the area between the shoulder blades. With each breath, we go deeper and deeper. Move our attention up the spine to the atlas, where the spine meets the skull. Let's move our attention to the top of the head, the center of the head. Let's move our attention to the forehead, the third eye. our divine vision. Move our attention to the throat area, thyroid, vocal cords, our voice. Let's go down to the heart, the strongest field of physicality. When we work through this field, everything is magical. Let's send Plav to all souls, elevate them in the direction of peace, balance, correct conduct. Let's move down to the solar plexus. Let's cycle the breath again from the bottom of the spine going up. Exhale going down the front. Inhale up. Exhale going down. Do a few on your own. Focus on making your plasma ball. Put all our wonderful intent and emotion of PLAF into it. Just feel the energy flowing in it. And as you continuously put the intent into it, the more powerful, more field strength it builds. And when you're ready, let it go. Send it off to do its work. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. It's always a blast.
Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Rana.
Thank you.
Steve, Tatiana, Lorenka, Barbara, Rana,
On Facebook.
Facebook, and everybody else.
Mhm. Thank you, guys. Sweet dreams.
All
Good night.
still hanging in.
Good night.
Ciao, ciao, everybody.